The Corolla XRS compared with the Corolla LE. My friend Matt is here, drove over from Atlanta, and he is going to be putting together a video which will come out a month or so after this one, maybe earlier if we're lucky. And it's going to be an awesome, full-on, professional quality. Are you a millennial?
Or Gen Z? Technically millennial.
Yeah, so his camera skills, mine suck. You guys have always let me know that in the comments, and I'm not ashamed of that at all. But Matt's production is going to be excellent. So you're going to see an awesome comparison of these two cars. Not really a comparison, but just sort of what are the differences and what makes the XRS a special, rare car. What's the name of your channel, Matt?
Third Hand Motors.
Third Hand Motors. Matt's got some great videos. So if you're watching this, you should go over there and check out his stuff. So yeah, we're going to talk about two things. Number one, we're going to talk about, hello everybody.
Hello.
We're going to talk about the differences of these cars, and then number two, Matt's just going to talk to you about his driving impressions because he drove the XRS a little bit for his video, and I think he had a good time. Great. So yeah, so first let's just talk about visually, and I'll get close to me for this point. So we've said before that the XRS looks a lot like the Corolla S, with the exception of different wheels. It's lowered about a ½ inch. It has the badging, obviously, and then the other difference was there was something up front, maybe
paint matched grille.
The paint matched grille, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And let's swing around and look at that. And now we're not talking about the LE right now. This is the LE, which is actually better than the S.
Yeah,
it's a higher trim level.
More honest.
Right. But we're talking about the XRS versus the S. So we have the paint matched grille, and that's really all you would know. Also, I've read that there's like little darker headlights. These are aftermarket, but the stock ones have like some black in them versus the regular Corolla doesn't. But apart from that, that's all visually correct?
I think so, yeah. And
then let's just talk generically now about the Corolla. We have an LE here that's in great condition, has a few bumps and bruises, but it rides great, is very, very, very clean, and just general differences between the regular Corolla and the XRS. And why don't you just hit us with some knowledge.
All right, so the first one is going to be the wheels.
Yes.
Those are not actual 5-spoke wheels. Those are, of course, the Walmart special hubcaps. Yep. Wonderful. They came with the car, to be fair. But also, of course, the body kit, if you walk over here a little bit, you can kind of see. There's no body kit, there's no spoiler. Are those smoked lenses on the back? Are those?
I made those.
Okay.
Yeah, I made those with vinyl. So yeah,
okay,
they used to look just like yours.
Gotcha. Okay, so that is the same. Oh, let's do the fun little difference here. So in our car, this is my wife's car. You can pop the trunk, and you can put the seats down. There's a ton of stuff in here.
But the seats fold down. You can see the split right there.
Yep.
And in this car, they don't.
They don't.
Because of the X-brace.
The X-brace in the rear, exactly.
And you've got, there's a few little differences, like you've got the wood trim, which is actually quite nice. You've got a beefier steering wheel. Seats are a little different. And I'll just show the inside of this real quick, and then we'll show the inside of
They're less bolstered.
The XR. Yeah, they're a little less bolstered.
You know what? I think your center console is a bit different too.
Yeah, I noticed that. You've got the
it's like a 2-tier. Like it's got like the top part open.
Right. So this is the difference. And then of course the other big thing is the engine and the transmission. Obviously you've got the
1ZZ FE with the automatic 4-speed.
Right. And what is the horsepower on that one?
There's some debate. I've heard 130,
130,
but I've heard
yeah,
127 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And and then the Corolla, of course, has the 170-ish with the 6-speed transmission, and a little beefier suspension, that sort of thing.
Yep.
So. And then why don't we go over here in the shade, Matt, and you can share. Is that kind of all the big differences?
Yeah. I mean, the engine is, I would say, the biggest thing, and then of course the ones we mentioned. But yeah.
And with the Corolla as a backdrop, give us some of your. Matt just took it for a drive to do his impressions.
Okay. So first off, this is very weird. I'm gonna watch this video and feel very strange because I am like you. I just watched this channel, but yeah, Jeff and I hit it off, and here I am. But yeah, so there are a few videos on the XRS, and there is no way to feel what lift does.
And I was gonna say, let me just interject. I was gonna say that because I thought the same thing. When I watched the videos before I drove or owned this car, you could kind of tell like lift was aggressive, but
Yeah.
when you drive the car, you're like, holy crap, I got to get one of these.
Yeah.
It's so, I mean, it you kind of get it from videos, but when you drive it, it's just a whole different thing.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Like, it doesn't, okay, in my mind, it was like something that smoothly like rolled up, but no, it's like a snap. It's like suddenly just a little twitch. It's not like flooring it in like a McLaren or something crazy. It's just like a snap, you know? And it's wild.
Which in your video, I made an effort to hold the camera is
Still as you could.
still as I could, and
Yeah.
it still did that when we engaged lift a couple times. So
Yeah, and it's like a little present. Like, you know, you're watching the revs climb, and you're like, I know it's gonna click, and then it does, and then it just feels wonderful. But it's so fast until like when you hit that point, it's so fast between 67 where the lift cam engages and 82 that you're just like, you're in disbelief. It's so quick, but it's neat.
have you driven a car with VTEC?
Not really.
And hit,
no.
okay.
Not
So
proper VTEC.
Okay. And I've said this in my other videos, but it really does feel different. I've even driven some cars that have aggressively tuned, you know, ECUs, you know, piggybacks and whatnot with bigger engines than they're supposed to with VTEC controllers. And even compared to that, like, this still feels quite furious.
I can imagine.
It's the slow and the furious is what's happening here, right?
Basically, yeah.
Suspension, could you tell any differences in the way it handled? We did a couple
Rigidity.
roundabouts.
Yeah.
Rigidity, the braces, you could feel it.
I feel like, are the tires a lower profile?
I'm
They
not
are.
sure.
I can tell. They're a little.
Yeah, they're a little
more
squinched.
squished.
Yeah. Yeah, let me get you in the backdrop.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I could tell the tires were a little grippier, a little how can I say this? Like a little rougher riding, but
Right.
comes with the territory.
Right.
But I could tell, yeah, going around the roundabout, like it didn't feel like there was any waver. It just felt like,
Didn't feel boaty.
yeah, it felt like a lot better.
Yeah, like it didn't feel like a Corolla as much.
Right. Now, of course, it's no like Miata, but it is like,
Right.
there's, you know,
Nor does it claim to be.
right, exactly.
What about, so I have some shifting mods. So one of the criticisms of this car, and I've criticized it and as such, is that the shifter is pretty clunky. It's got a weird clutch lift engagement point. The throttle's also weird, even though it is drive-by cable.
Right.
Which are, so, and I compared it to the Civic Si, the 6th and 8th gens, which is what I was looking at when I bought the XRS, and said that yes, the Civic's transmission was far more smooth, wonderful, and all those things. But my comment on this was, and keep in mind, I've got some shift mods that have kind of made it even more precise and a little more effort to throw. But to me, that was just part of the car. Like, it's the fact that it's got this Corolla with this transmission that they also put in a Lotus, which made it acceptable. I'm curious with your thoughts. You did very well. You didn't stall the car once. You didn't like bucket and stuff, the kind of stuff I was, expecting, which a lot of people say. So what were your transmission thoughts on the transmission?
Okay, so I might have lied. I have technically driven a few SIs. I work at CarMax, so I can, I just drive around the lot, moving cars, etc. So as far as that experience can take me, I do think that an SI is definitely smoother.
Much more.
This is gonna sound weird, but this shifter reminds me of like a Mustang of
I get it.
like late 10s, or sorry, late 2000s,
Heavy.
early 10s. Yeah, it's heavy. They're like, the clutch not so much, but the shifter is heavy. That might be the mod you did, but either way.
And for reference, for those that are watching, it is a short shifter, which dropped at a good 1.5 inches, and then it's also solid cable bushings and solid base bushings, which reduces the bump and cushion when you land in a gear. So it's just, instead of bump and then shake, it's just click, and there's no give, which I wanted, but that adds to that clunkiness.
Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
I think that anybody criticizing this probably hasn't gotten used to it. It definitely feels like you can get used to it. It feels like something that, like, this is competing with the Civic Si, I would say. Is that fair to say, you think? Like,
To people like us, yes. Most people would say, why would you ever buy this? I mean, you can't find one, but if you could, why would you buy this instead of a Civic Si? Because the Civic Si is cool. It's in the movies. You go to Walmart, there's no Matchbox Corolla, but there is a Matchbox Si. And the mod community, the aftermarket support. So, but to people like you and I that are interested in something that's different, absolutely a competitor.
Yeah, so, like, I think it's not fair to really compare it. I mean, that was like the main thing, but they are just different cars.
Very much.
They're going to do different things better and different things worse. Like lift is better in this, I would imagine. I've never hit it, but like it sounds like the revs are a bit higher.
You never had VTEC, yeah. The revs are higher, but they kick in much stronger.
Yeah. So, so I think that it's nothing you can't get used to though. Like I drove it for what, 20 minutes?
Yeah, you drove 20 minutes. You did. I mean, there was only one shift that was, I think, hard. I think it's because you were trying to rev match.
Yeah, I was.
But other than that, I mean, you did great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and you drive an automatic. You know, so no. But my point is, you don't do it every day. So
right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Any final thoughts, Matt, on the XRS?
Do not despair if you can't afford an XRS, because there is a Vibe GT and a Matrix XRS. They are a little less special, if that isn't wrong to say. They don't have the chassis bracing in the front, I don't think, or the rear, and they are just a hatchback. And of course, I don't think they're even lowered. I think they're just stock suspension.
Yeah.
But if you want that power, if you want what you've seen in his videos about revving and the fake VTEC, then you can go for those. I mean, and those are a lot more common. I've seen
the other VTEC might be
right,
because it's not VTEC, but people would call it
fake.
So you're saying if you want that experience, but you can't find a Corolla. Not that people watching this are looking for Corolla XRSs, but the GT Vibe is cheaper because it's a Pontiac, and the Matrix is more plentiful.
Yeah, the Matrix is probably the most plentiful, but still a little more expensive due to Toyota badge. But you can find a GT or a Vibe GT. I found them. I've loved these cars. This is my first time driving one, but I've loved these cars for a long time, and I've looked a lot, and I found them as cheap as like $1,000. Not in great shape, but like Vibe GTs are a lot more easy to find and a lot more. You have to mod it to get it to where this one is, but like you'll probably make up your dollar in the long run. So
sweet.
Look at those.
Excellent. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching the video. Leave comments if you want to discuss. Hey, maybe it'll be like Matt. You watch my videos, and then we just had a root beer float and ice cream and a good hamburger and talked to cars. Good stuff. This is probably one of my favorite things about making videos, is just meeting.
Absolutely.
I've met so many people like you, and just had good times. So reminder, Matt will have a video, your channel one more time. Third Hand Motors. So right now it's late July 22, probably soon after this he will have a video out that goes through everything driving. It's going to be very nice. Check that out and have a good day. Peace.